Mary has always been in a complex position in her marriage. She's married, she has kids, but there's a significant gap when it comes to feeling supported or truly depended upon. Despite the structure of her family, Mary doesn't have the emotional connection with anyone that she can rely on in the way that she needs. Enter Jen. For a long time, Jen has been there for Mary. Jen has filled that emotional void, acting as a confidant, a support system, and essentially a placeholder for the kind of partnership that Mary has longed for but never found. Jen, in her own way, has stepped up to fulfill a role in Mary's life that no one else has, someone who's been more reliable and consistent than even the people closest to Mary. Jen has been the one to listen to Mary's frustrations, to offer advice, and to simply be there when things seem impossible. But this dynamic, as it happens in many relationships, is set to change. Mary has begun to find the possibility of a different kind of connection. A partner, someone she can actually depend on in ways Jen can't fulfill, could eventually take center stage. This doesn't mean that Jen will suddenly disappear, but it does signal that Jen's role in Mary's life will naturally shift. When Mary finds the right partner, she'll have less time to dedicate to Jen. That's just the way relationships evolve. However, this doesn't mean that Jen will lose her place in Mary's heart. She'll still matter, but she'll no longer be the one filling the role of emotional support in the same way she's done before. In fact, the right partner will likely embrace Jen, and Jen will, in turn, accept and appreciate that person as a part of Mary's life. Relationships, whether romantic or platonic, often require that we learn to love the people our friends or loved ones choose to bring into their lives. It's part of the process of evolving and growing. But this is where things get complicated. In the midst of all of this, Mary finds herself in a conversation with Cody. Cody, who's always been fixated on the idea of loyalty, has his own perspective on the situation. For years, he's spoken about loyalty as being the cornerstone of his relationships. His beliefs about loyalty are incredibly rigid, and he's expressed that loyalty is what makes someone valuable to him. Mary, understanding this about Cody, uses it to her advantage in an important conversation with him. She reminds him that Jen has been more loyal to her than anyone in the family, and that loyalty has been one of the most important things in their relationship. Cody, however, has always viewed loyalty as something more transactional. He sees it as a means of control, something that ensures he holds power over his relationships. His loyalty is always about maintaining dominance and order. So, when Mary challenges him on his view of loyalty, asking if he truly expects her to sever ties with someone who's been loyal to her for so long, it sends Cody into a defensive spiral. Mary pushes back against Cody's traditional view of loyalty. She points out that, for years, Cody has claimed that Robin's loyalty is what makes her the best wife in his eyes. But for Mary, this rings hollow. She understands that loyalty, as Cody defines it, is tied to his own sense of control, not to the emotional bonds that truly hold people together. She's spent so much time with Jen, relying on her, and in many ways, Jen has shown more loyalty than any of Cody's wives combined. But Cody doesn't want to hear this. He's become fixated on the idea of keeping control of Mary, even though he hasn't wanted her in the way he once did. This is where Cody's jealousy becomes particularly glaring. It's not just about the idea of Mary finding someone else. It's about Mary finding happiness outside of his sphere of influence. Cody can't stand the thought of Mary moving on, of her finding joy in someone else. For years, Mary has been a source of validation for Cody, someone who he could rely on emotionally, even if he wasn't actively in a romantic relationship with her. Now, the possibility of her seeking that kind of emotional support elsewhere is unbearable for him. He doesn't want to be with her, but he doesn't want anyone else to have her either. Cody's jealousy intensifies when Mary's past relationships come to light. Specifically, when she was involved with Amos, a man whose past has been less than perfect. Articles surfaced about Amos's bankruptcies and his reputation for having multiple wives. The media made sure to paint him in a negative light, feeding into the narrative that he was just another opportunist. Cody, ever the jealous partner, saw this as an opportunity to lash out. He used the negative press surrounding Amos to fuel his own anger and resentment toward Mary. The underlying message was clear. Cody didn't want Mary moving on, especially not with someone who had such a tarnished reputation. What becomes evident through all of this is that Cody's jealousy isn't really about Amos or the situation with Mary at all. It's about his own insecurity. He can't stand the thought of Mary being happy with anyone else, especially someone who could potentially make her feel more fulfilled than he ever did. This kind of emotional control is classic narcissism. Cody doesn't want to see Mary thrive without him. He doesn't care if he's part of her life in a meaningful way. He just wants to maintain a hold over her, to ensure that no one else can take her place. Ultimately, the sad truth is that Cody doesn't really value Mary for who she is or the loyalty she's shown him over the years. His view of loyalty is more about ownership and dominance. As Mary prepares to move forward, she has to grapple with the reality that Cody will never truly allow her to have the kind of freedom and happiness she deserves. But with Jen by her side, at least for now, Mary has the support she needs to begin redefining her life, one where loyalty isn't about control, it's about love, respect, and mutual happiness. This expanded version delves deeper into the emotional dynamics between Mary, Jen, and Cody, exploring themes of jealousy, loyalty, and personal growth.